Salute Black Goose TV family. Nothing but love, nothing but respect. Salutations and blessing going y'all way. Y'all already know who it is. It's your boy Fluence, Black Goose TV. We back at it again, and I'm coming at you with that strong. You see that? I even use a T in there. I used a K because you know it's extra, extra strong boxing content. You already know. You ain't going to get this type of content nowhere else. And if you think you is, go ahead and try and find it. It ain't going to match up. You heard me? Now, let's go ahead and get into this particular video. And I feel very passionately about this particular video. And if you guys have been part of the Black Goose family for a long period of time, if you are OG family member, then you guys understand exactly what I am about to say and what I am going to be getting into in regards to my emotional feelings toward this ridiculous claim coming from Eddie Hearn. Now, as always, I love to do a disclaimer, and the disclaimer always comes in the beginning. When I am talking about a fighter that I will be biased of when it comes to me speaking on whatever the particular topic is at hand, I'm going to let you guys know. Or at the very least, I'm going to say, hey, I'm a big fan of this fighter. I've been a big fan of this fighter for a long time. So I may be a little bit skewed when it comes to my particular opinion. When it comes to Anthony Yarde, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm 100% skewed. If you have a graph and a chart and, you know what I'm saying, this is me with Anthony Yarde. I'm skewed all the way to the, you know what I'm saying, to the utmost, because Yarde is a guy when it came to the light heavyweight division, when it was not prominent as it was now, right? It was growing in the sense of we had prospects coming up. And of those names was what you see here: Buatsi, Anthony Yarde, Artur Beterbiev, and then you also had Dimitri Bivol. Okay, that was about 4 years ago. These were the up and comers in light heavyweight. These were the names that were being floated around. Who's going to be the next big thing at the light heavyweight division, right? After Kovalev goes ahead and leaves and et cetera, right? So as we are where we are now, Artur Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol end up being those top guys at the top ladder when it came to the prospects, of being at the light heavyweight division. But the two that was left behind was Buatsi and Yarde. Now, Buatsi is still undefeated. It's just Buatsi just so happened has not been able to get the opportunity to have that type of fight where people are paying attention to him, right? Yarde, on the other hand, he took 2 losses. One of them, in my opinion, he shouldn't have, I don't think it was a loss. I thought he won the first fight against Arthur, but a lot of people say he didn't. Obviously, the judges didn't think that way. And then, obviously, the fight against Kovalev, he got stopped, but he was well on his way of getting a victory and stopping Kovalev himself. He just happened to have some pretty bad corner advice during that particular time, when if he would have had the right corner advice, he couldn't have finished the fight, which his corner has acknowledged. Shout out to Tuni Ajayi that, he may have not said the best things during that time. And, they fixed those particular errors. They brought on some new people to join the camp, et cetera, et cetera. So with that being said, to sum that all together, Buatsi and Yarde are the odd man looking out at the light heavyweight division when it comes to hey, who's going to be next up in this weight class, right? These four guys are going to be next up in this weight class. And so far, Beterbiev and Bivol is making the most out of those predictions, right? Buatsi, he's still there waiting in the looms. But the problem with Buatsi is he's boring as hell to watch. And at this point, there's no reason for anyone that has a big name at light heavyweight to fight him, because it's the lowest risk it's the lowest reward in the world with a very high risk. Because Buatsi, no one cares about him because he just has no charisma to him. His fights aren't particularly exciting. He's just a package of, if you don't know, you probably will never know when it comes to boxing. And that's just the reality of it. While Yarde is the opposite. Yarde has exciting fights, even though he has some losses on his record. He has the look, he has the skill set, he's an internet sensation. So Yarde has more eyes on him than Buatsi. But let's just say from the, if you're looking at it just from the eye test, okay, Buatsi is a better fighter supposedly than Yarde because he's undefeated. He's a little bit more technical. He started boxing at the age we expect him to start out, et cetera, right? And so right off the bat, when I'm seeing this particular, headline for this article, I'm like, Hearn's most likely, he's probably hating. He is probably hating because he's probably upset that Yarde is in a better position than Buatsi right now, despite Yarde starting boxing much later. He started like around 18. Also, Yarde being known as a YouTube sensation. He was able to disprove that by fighting Kovalev and then beating Arthur in the second rematch. And then he's probably upset about the fact that, hey, Yarde's record isn't as good as my guy Buatsi's, but for some reason, more people will talk about Yarde than Buatsi. And it's like, that's what I think, because in reality, not too many people are checking for Buatsi. At this point in his career, people should be checking for him. The way people were talking about him on his come up, like I said 4 years ago, I was watching these 4 guys like crazy. Better was the least person I watched. The second least person was Bivol. The person I was most hyped on was Yarde, and then right behind Yarde was Buatsi. So I watched Buatsi and Yarde a lot. So if I was a stockholder and I was placing, investments and putting money into stocks when it came to those 4 guys, I would put the most in Yarde. I'd put the second most in Buatsi, third most in Bivol, and the fourth most in Better Biv. Now you see, there's a reason why I ain't in no stocks when it comes to boxing, and there ain't no stocks for boxing because goddamn it, I lost all my money. That's not a good place to put my money. But my point is, we've seen both Buatsi and we've seen Yarde basically kind of be pushed out of the picture of the next big things at light heavyweight or the possibility of a next big fight where everyone is talking about it. Now, with that being said, I'm not sure what was said from Frank Warren. I'm not sure what was said from Anthony Yarde, but I'm very interested to learn why Eddie Hearn is making this statement over here saying Hearn lays into Yarde Warren, and he specifically states, however you want to use the vocabulary, you could have fought Buatsi, but you're waiting. So let's go ahead and get into this article. Let's find out exactly and specifically what he said so we can react appropriately to this particular statement. Let me make sure I don't actually miss the quotes. Here it goes. So he said, and this is the IFL TV, you could have fought Buatsi in April or May for £1 million, but you're waiting for the winner of a fight that hasn't been scheduled yet. If Biv fights Joe Smith, what's going to happen? That's fight going to take place in July, August. The winner of the fight, by the way, real quick disclaimer, they have announced the official date for Better Biv versus Joe Smith Jr. So it is taking place in, I want to say, late June, early July. The winner of that fight might be ready in November, December. So what are you going to do with Yarde? You're going to wait a year for a fight. And guess what's going to happen with the winner of Better Biv versus Smith? They're going to fight Canelo Alvarez for the undisputed 175-pound title that every sanctioning body is going to say yes to. Eddie Hearn, that's a power play from him. That's him doing negotiations. We all know that in November and December, the next fight for Canelo is going to be John Ryder. Better Biv versus Smith is too many loops to jump through. Too many loops. Not with this 3-fight zone deal that they have right now. They're going to have to negotiate something different for that to happen. So he's just doing a power play. And you guys have to understand, like I just said, even though Buatsi is undefeated, popularity-wise, risk-wise, reward-wise, he's in the same boat as Anthony Yarde. No light heavyweight with a credible name is going to fight Buatsi right now because, one, it's a dangerous fight, and two, it's not going to bring anybody out of their seats. It's not going to be like, hey, you need to fight him so we can say that you're the best. No one is saying that. So there's no point to take that big of a risk if you can't get the reward back, right? Eddie Hearn continues to say, why didn't someone ask Yarde in an interview? Why doesn't someone ask Yarde in an interview? What do you want to do, Anthony Yarde? Oh, I'm going to wait. Wait until then. Wait until when? Oh, until I get my shot. What? In December at the very earliest? He continues to say he hasn't been called out for a mandatory. He's not ready to fight for the WBO title. There's another fight that's going to happen. Then there's another fight that's going to happen after that. Does he believe he's going to be Joshua Buatsi? If he does, take the $1 million bid and fight the Better Biv Smith winner in December. This was February when we made the offer. We're only in April, but nobody asked these questions. So apparently Hearn and his team offered Anthony Yarde $1 million to fight somewhere around in April. So this upcoming, obviously we've already passed April, January, February, March, April, May. So he went to fight this past April. He turned it down because apparently they believe that they're waiting for the Better Biv Smith winner. Real quick, it was pointed out to Hearn that Yarde's team was only offered the Buatsi fight after the WBO had lifted Yarde to a top contention. Hearn fired back. We didn't make an offer because he's about to get a shot. He ain't about to get a shot. Of course, the shot's not there. That fight's not happening. First, there's a unification, and there'll be an undisputed. If there's not an undisputed, he's not going to fight for it until December. So you're waiting a whole year to fight. That may not happen, rather than getting $1 million in a fight you're supposed to be able to win. When Frank Warren said, I didn't put Yarde on the Wembley card because he's waiting for a world title shot. What? They haven't even announced the other fight that's going to happen before that in about 3 months' time. So what? Yarde can't fight this whole year. But Buatsi will still be staying busy by facing Craig Richards on May 21st at O2 Arena. So, it's Eddie Hearn doing his job. Like at the end of the day, like, yes, I'm a big Buatsi fan, I'm a big Yarde fan, I'm more of a Yarde fan, but let's be real. Yarde doesn't get anything from fighting Buatsi other than a big payday. He's like, I'm offering him $1 million to come and fight Buatsi. Yarde's probably making that much amount off of social media. You know what I'm saying? So he's not pressed off of you saying, hey, I'm going to give you a big payday just to fight a guy that's not going to do anything for my career. Yarde has took his chances and he's took some L's. At this point in time, I agree with his team. It's the smart to wait it out and try and get the best fight possible that will be able to not only lift his legacy and add to his legacy, but also if he gets the win, propel him to an even bigger fight that will propel his legacy. I don't think it's about the money for Yarde at this point because he's making good money. He's making good money in boxing and outside of boxing. That's like simple as that. So I get Eddie Hearn's angle. You're trying to get a fight for Buatsi that he needs. Buatsi needs a big name, you know what I'm saying, right now, so he can really just push himself forward in the light heavyweight division. So it makes a lot of sense. I'm not against Eddie Hearn on what he's doing, marketing, promoting. He's doing his damn job. But at the same time, who cares what I think? Who cares what Eddie Hearn has to say? Who cares what anybody has to say? All I care about is what y'all have to say, BlakGooseTV family. So go ahead and drop your comments below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, show some love to your boys always. I'm out of here for now, but I'm always going to be back with the bigger and better bangers as always.